What's up, everybody? This is Kevin here from Happy Beard Games, your source for classic gaming goodness, and we're bringing back another board game episode. This is Beard Games 2, Episode 2. We're doing Star Wars Command for our board game. Now, there's a couple things I need to clarify. This is not actually a board game. I know, it's not actually a board game. It shouldn't count, but it's a toy set that kind of looks like a board game on the box, and you can play games with it, sort of like a miniatures game, but without the rule set. There's no rules in this game, or toy, or box, or whatever it may be. It's basically a whole bunch of minifigure toys, similar to like Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, HeroClix, those kind of things. It's kind of like that. It's sort of aimed at a younger audience, I guess, but you can still use it the same way that you use any other miniatures for role-playing or strategy or tabletop games. It's actually pretty cool, but it's not, like, super amazing, I guess I would say. But it does have some pretty cool uses for, which in this video we will outline 5 great things that you can do with your Star Wars Command set. Specifically the Epic Assault set, because there's more than one set that you can buy in a box similar to this that goes with this sort of game set in addition. So, if you look on the back of the box, Star Wars Command. Take charge and command your battle. Will you take charge as Ezra Bridger and lead the rebel crew of the Ghost Raider in a fight against the Empire? Or will you take command as the Inquisitor and his TIE Fighter advanced prototype and strike the rebels with an AT-DP walkers and TIE Fighters in the Epic Assault set? Okay, so now this is Epic Assault. This one is based on the characters and scenes from Star Wars Rebels, as it says right here, Star Wars Rebels from the animated series. However, there is other series. On the back, or other sets, I mean. On the back it shows 2 of them, but online I've seen that there may be more, though I'm not entirely sure what those are, so you have to look those up if you're interested in the set. One of the other sets looks like the Hoth battle from Empire Strikes Back. You've got snow speeders, you got rebel troops in their snow gear, you got snow troopers, you got AT-ATs, and you've got some similar things to this set, but then you've also got a big Millennium Falcon that you can play with. And that one's actually looks like it's been painted, whereas everything in this set is not painted. Another set is the Star Destroyer, which is sort of like a mix between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi set with the figures, but then it mostly just comes with a giant Star Destroyer that is remote controlled. Now that is only 9 figures in that set, including the Star Destroyer. So now let's just see what comes in this box. It actually is really handy on the box. On the very top flap, they show exactly what you get with a numerical count for each model. So most of them you just get 1 of, but some of them, like the Stormtroopers, you get 2 of each type. It's more of a toy than a board game. It really is. It doesn't have any rules, doesn't have any instructions. It just has, when you open up, there's basically a plastic bag with all these in it, and you put them together. So let's take a look at all the pieces. First we have the TIE Fighter, which you actually get 2 of. And you also get a display stand for it as well, which is a see-through stand that does come off. The next thing you get is the Ghost. The Ghost is the freighter that they used in Star Wars Rebels as their home and their main ship. This is where Kanan, Hera, Sabine, Zeb, Chopper, and Ezra stay in during a majority of the first season. Next, you have the Inquisitor's tie. Yes, this is the Inquisitor's tie. It's very similar to Vader's tie, but not quite as advanced, I'm assuming. It's a little bit different in style, but it's also a little different than the normal TIE fighters. So, you've got his own personal tie, which you'll see in the series at various points. Now, to make those ships move forward, you have these 2 bases. These bases are basically, they have wheels on them, and you can pull them back, and they will go forward. Very simple design, and they have this hook right here that clips onto the base of the spaceships. So you've got a Rebels one, and you've got an Imperials one. Next up, you have the ATDP Walker, which is from Star Wars Rebels as well, as most of the things in this set are. And this has its own base as well, because it does not stand up very well on its own, surprisingly. Or not surprisingly enough. But yeah, you get the ATDP Walker. And you get 2 of those. We're going to start with the Empire side here. We've got 1 Stormtrooper in a crouch down position. Very basic, iconic pose for a Stormtrooper. And it looks pretty good. Yeah, you get 2 of those. The next one is the upright standing Stormtrooper. He's got his blaster at the ready, and he's ready to go. The detail is pretty good on these Stormtroopers, actually. The next one is these different style Stormtroopers that you'll see a lot in Star Wars Rebels. You'll see them on the speeder bikes, and they sort of resemble the Stormtroopers in training. So you get 2 of these guys as well. Now, since there was 2 TIE Fighters, you need 2 TIE Fighter pilots, and here's one of them. You get 2 of them, and they're both identical. Pretty cool. Really cool, iconic pose. I swear I've seen this pose somewhere before on either an older action figure or a Star Wars miniature before. But it's a nice pose for this character. Then you've got the big bad guy himself, or one of the big bad guys, and that is the Inquisitor. Now, the Inquisitor is labeled on the box as an exclusive figure. He sort of has a metallic paint job to him, but not too much, and his lightsaber is actually red instead of being a solid color with his body. And you'll see that the same way as Ezra is also a metallic, sort of painted, and also has a blue lightsaber. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is he does have his helmet on, even though he's using his lightsaber. Normally, he only has his helmet on when he's in his TIE Fighter. Still pretty cool figure. Now we move on to the Ghost Crew of the Rebels. We've got Ezra Bridger. This looks very much like the same scene when he first gets his lightsaber and he first turns it on. It's the same pose. It's pretty cool, very iconic, and it looks pretty good. They even have the detail on the back of his jacket with his logo back there. Pretty cool. The next one is you get Sabine with her Mandalorian armor and double blasters. Pretty cool. The next one you get is Chopper. He looks really cool and the detail on him is great. The next one you get is Kanan. So we've got Kanan here in full green. Even his lightsaber is green, which is the only one like that in the set. I'm assuming it's because he's not exclusive. But I don't know what other set you would get him in. So maybe there's another set with Kanan where he does have his lightsaber, or maybe a different pose. The next one you get Zeb. Zeb is a really cool character to have, not only because I like Zeb and his character in the show, but because he is based on directly some of the concept art for Chewbacca on the original film. Really cool. I like the detail on him. It looks great. Now there is one thing in Star Wars Command that separates it from just being figures that are models or display or something like that, or just for like playing as a board game or a tabletop game or some kind of adventure. And that is these pullback, launch, and destroy figures. I don't know what to call them. They're basically like, if you ever had one of those toy cars, you know, like you probably get it from a Happy Meal, where you pull it back and it goes forward. That's what these are. And what you're supposed to do is you place, gotta use the appropriate one. That's the Empire ship. This is the Rebel ship. Actually, you don't really have to, but that's what they go to. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is take your ship, any ship, because they all come with stands. You place it on its stand, which is a see-through display stand. And then you place that thing, it kind of slides in very kind of loosely into this base here. And then what you do is you pull it back and let it go. And it looks like it's moving. Now, what they want you to do in this game is pull it back and you can knock over your pieces like so. So what if the ghost attacks the ghost crew? That's what happens. It actually didn't really knock them over, which is kind of disappointing. It just kind of pushed them around. I'm going to try that again with some stormtroopers, and I'm going to use the Inquisitor's tie, just because we got to try out the game. So here's the Inquisitor's tie. and I put it on the Imperial base. I'm just going to rev it all the way up here. Go full speed ahead. We're going to Plaid. Well, took out 3 of the Ghost Crew. I guess it does work. It just sometimes it'll push them around if you don't get enough speed going. Okay, pros and cons. We got a few pros and a few cons, actually. One of the pros is they're detailed enough for the price. Another thing is they come with 22 figures for... This cost me $10. I don't know how much it's going to cost new at another store, but for $10 you get 22 figures. Actually, I think it's 20 plus these two. That's pretty cool. In addition, another good thing is you get a variety here. You get one side, the Empire, you get one side, the Rebels, and then you've got, so that's good, you got that variation there, and then you've also got ships and vehicles, and then you've also got Jedi, which is important to some people, that they really want the Jedi, or at least the main characters. Now, that leads us into the cons. The cons are that, well, the first con is it's missing one of the main characters and members of the Ghost Crew from Star Wars Rebels. It's missing Hera. Where's Hera Syndulla? She is important. She's the pilot. She is an important character. I guess she's just represented by the ship in this. I guess. It might be a good thing. It might be a good thing. She gets the whole ship to herself. But that's not really a good thing because she's supposed to be part of the crew, and they've got Sabine, and they've got Zeb, and Chopper, Ezra, and Kanan, but no Hera. So, I don't know what's up with that. There is a Hera action figure, but it won't be the same size as any of these. I don't think they made a separate Rebel set, so you're out of luck if you're a Hera fan, which is disappointing. Another thing is, it's not really a con, but it's a weird design choice that they gave the Inquisitor his helmet on when he's holding his lightsaber. In the show, he only wears his helmet, from what I remember, when he's piloting his TIE fighter. So it's weird that they gave him the helmet there. But later in Season 2, there's other Inquisitors, and they have similar helmets that they wear during the fights. So I don't know, maybe it was an unused thing, or maybe I just forgot. Another thing, that's not really a con, it's just a nitpick, is why does he have his helmet on? In addition, another thing that's kind of a con is that they are not painted, but they're all appropriately colored. Like the stormtroopers are white, the ships are dark, the pilots are dark, black, and the characters are sort of appropriately colored, like the Inquisitor's silver. Ezra is gold for some reason. I think it might be because he's a limited character. Kanan's green, which I don't know why he's green. He should be blue because he has a blue lightsaber. Maybe he wears green. He has green pants, I guess. Zeb's purple. Sabine is red, and Chopper is orange. So they're sort of close to what they should be. Which brings us into the top 5 things you can do with these figures. These are the top 5 things you can do with your Star Wars command set in no particular order, just a bunch of fun things that you can do with your set that are different from each other. Alright, let's start. Number 1. Number 1 is you can paint these. If you have the proper primer paint, you could probably spray paint that onto the figures first. It'll help the paint stick depending on what kind of coating or what kind of plastic the figures may already have, since it looks like they're not painted at all. So, if you want to paint your figures, give them a little more life, a little more style, or maybe even come up with your own custom designs, that's a great thing you can do with these figures, because they're very similar to other role-playing and tabletop game figures. Number 2, you can collect them. You can collect them because there's multiple sets that work the same way and the same style of playset as the Epic Assault set that we showed today. There's other sets you can buy, other sets you can collect, you can mix and match, you can make your own different scenarios on the game or the games that you make up through this set. Number 3, you can display them. You can put them on your shelf, you can put them on some kind of display stand, you can put them around your room in various places. If you're a kid and you like to organize things, when I was a kid, I really liked to set things up and see what they look like all together in a set, especially with my Star Wars toys. This is a great way to have them all in a smaller scale, a smaller place, and you get a whole big scene instead of just 1 or 2 action figures. So it's a good place to get all that. And plus you get them all in one set. Remember, there was at least 20 figures in the Epic Assault set. Number 4, recreate adventures from the TV series or films. This is Star Wars, guys. One of the most iconic series of all times. There's a lot to be based off of with these toys. You can recreate the Battle of Hoth. You can recreate different Stormtrooper versus Rebel scenarios. You can go on adventures with just the Ghost Crew, trying to find special missions, secret plans, go on different quests. You know what I mean? You can do lots of different things with this using your imagination based on the film. Number 5, create your own adventures. You can create your own adventures with you, your friends, your family, your parents, and you can go on those adventures using these figures. Now I know it's a pretty basic, broad example. You can do this with pretty much any action figure, but with this you get a whole set. So you get vehicles, you get characters, you get a droid. You get lots of different things you can use as different pieces in the bigger puzzle that is your imagination tools, as these toys recreate what you see in your mind when you're playing with this. I know that was a pretty cheesy cliche thing to say, but it is something that you can do with these toys that is still a lot of fun. Alright, those are the top 5 things you can do with your Star Wars Command Epic Assault set. Alright, so that was my review of Star Wars Command Epic Assault, the Star Wars Rebels playset from Hasbro. This is a really cool game / toy set / imagination creation playset fun time. This seems like a perfect thing to get for kids when you can't buy them every single full-size action figure because that adds up in price. This is $20 to $10. I bought it for $10, and you get 22 characters. You get almost everyone from the first season of Star Wars Rebels, minus a few Imperial commanders. You don't get Darth Vader, but there is a set that comes with Vader. You don't get Hera, but you get the Inquisitor. And you get both sides. You get something fun to play with in one box set that you can recreate many of the events from the show when you're playing with either your kids playing, you're playing with your kid with this game. You have 2 teams you can play against each other if you would like to make a game out of it, or just recreate scenes from the show or the movies, and depending on what set you get. And you can even combine the sets. So if you have the Empire Strikes Back set, you can add the Empire from Hoth into the Empire from Lothal. So you've got lots of different variation for this. So it's really good. If I had to rate it, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5, or maybe an 8 out of 10. You know what I mean? It's not the best thing I've ever seen, but for its price, you do get a lot of stuff that you can use with your imagination to create some pretty cool, fun times. Alright, so that's about it for the second episode of Beard Games. How did you like it? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like. Let me know what you think about it as well. Share it with your friends, and subscribe today to Happy Beard Games for more classic gaming goodness. I will be doing more board game episodes, and I mostly do video game episodes, so stay tuned for more Star Wars content all November long, and all the way leading up in December to Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. And, yeah, so stay tuned to that for more classic gaming goodness. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. Happy Beard Games, out!